You are live, Ben. Off you go, my man. I'm going to remove myself.
Oh man, he's left me all alone. Look at that. It's just me, myself, and the beautiful scenery. I'm changing these sceneries by the day. And
I'm back.
you're back. There you go. We're playing hide and seek. So we're late, but we're live and we're consistent. Some things have just happened, but we're here anyway. And ready for another episode of Lockdown Live with the Jedi and Rebel. And while you're tuning in, and Simon's sending out the link for you guys that are here, let us know where you're tuning in from. Give us some love, give us some likes. And again, always, before we step into this conversation, which are, you're really going to like this, because before we was about to do today's session, which are usually on point with knowing what we're going to talk about, we're like, what should we talk about? And believe it or not, I wanted to talk about something that I heard, well, not only heard, but been implementing myself for a long time. And credit to Simon, and what he's passionate about and his vision. He's created something that for me is pioneering the mindset industry. And I don't just mean industry like trying to say that people ain't doing it right or wrong. Just things need to evolve. And I think what we're about to hear now from Simon is the evolution of some practical science and data that we know is working, not just from our own results, but now can give other people to get the results. And I think this one is absolutely going to blow your mind. So it's unrehearsed. It's straight from the heart. We're going straight in. It's going to be all over the shop. But I promise you, by the end of this, you're going to be very inspired. I'm going to use that word.
Yeah, let's do it. We're late because Ben's audio wasn't working, and I'm like, Ben, your audio's not working, mate. Your audio's not working, and Ben's there trying to fuck about with his earphone. I take your earphones out, and he's like,
fucking sign language in, and
it's like, mate, it ain't working. It ain't working. And then I was sat here, and I was like, who's downstairs? Who's downstairs? Like someone downstairs. And I was like, fucking hell, my headphones were connected downstairs. so we did all that, but we're here anyway. And guys, you know the deal. Hit the like button. I know this is a bit impromptu. We weren't going to do a lockdown live today. In my mind, I don't think, because we're running a big 7-day challenge at the minute. Yeah, blame Ben. And Ben's assisting in that and coaching in there, doing some stuff with us. And there's currently, I don't know, about 175 people left getting a week of actual training with us, and it's going amazing. So if you're in there, let us know. If you're someone in the 7 days and doing something in the 7 days, let us know. But like I said, we weren't gonna do this. And then Ben was like, no, come on, let's jump on. It's 3:00, we always do something. So jump on, and here we are. So we've got a couple of ideas, which is the two main questions we both probably get asked. We're going to cover that. But also, I'm going to say this. We have a 30-day program starting in 10 days' time. All right? Our actual full 30-day program. It starts in about 10 days. Now, at the minute, we only open that up to people who come through our 7-day free program. They get first dibs. But on Monday, that's going to be opened up, the spare places, to anyone on Facebook to come in and get access. Obviously, it's not a free program. And actually get the full training with us. Anyone who really wants to get the best out of their mind, really wants to get the best out of their body, really wants to get the best out of their life, we are the number one go-to place for that now. And so I would encourage anyone who's like, yeah, get me that information, to hit me up, hit Ben up if you know Ben, and say, hey, have you got this information for this 30-day program? It'll be all over Facebook next week. Everywhere. We'll be posting testimonials, videos, talking about it. But I'm just giving you guys the heads up. It is legitimately our success rate, as Ben's asked me to talk about, over 90% in drastically reducing stress, anxiety, overwhelm, all those different things. Not bullshit made up numbers, legitimate numbers. We've got loads of numbers, but I'm just going to put it out there before we start. Trust me, if you're somebody who likes this, likes our stuff, get the information, have a look at it, and let's get you involved. But that being said, now I've got that off my brain. It was up in front of me on the screen. I thought I'm going to mention that. What's been your biggest win of the week? You guys watching? What's been something this week which has been great? Then I'm going to ask Ben, and then I'm going to share mine. So you guys, as Ben's talking, what's been the best bit of your week? Ben, what's been the best bit of your week? I'm intrigued.
Do you know what? I'm going to be a bit vulnerable here. Some stuff happened this morning. It was pretty intense, man, emotionally and mentally. And as you know, we've got the tools to deal with that. So anyway, in a situation, I could feel myself getting absorbed. We done the freeze frame technique. I changed my state. In fact, I had to do a bit of appreciation rampage. And the reason why I'm saying it's a win, I actually went to the sunbed after it. And why I'm in the sunbed, I'm thinking about it. You wouldn't say I was on the sunbed now, but anyway. And man, I've had such a breakthrough from it. Like, I've really found a solution, and I can't wait to implement it. And it's to do with my family, and it's all to do, again, around asking great questions. There was some conflict this morning, but the point being is that the reason why it was a win is because I was able to extinguish the situation, pull myself out of it, get myself into some breathing, get coherent. Like the training kits in, and you always say, you'll always drop to the baseline level you're training for a situation. And I know that from person who has no training in the situation, all the way to friends that I've got who are Navy SEALs who are defusing bombs, right? And I think of all the situations I've been in, practically just to go boom, 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 bang, and then find a solution, and then be grateful for the situation that I'm in, because for the lesson learned, the solution I'm going to get from it, man, it's gonna improve not only me but my family status for a little while. And it's been something that's been, I couldn't find it, And again, it's not always finding solutions straight away, which is probably the greatest lesson. It's like, no, sometimes I just got to sit with it and it will come. So, yeah, man, that's my win. That's my win, and it happened today. So yeah.
And you say you were in the sunbed, and now you're in the sauna.
My infrared sauna, can't you tell? You know what I mean? I'm sweating out the toxins, drinking the greens as we speak.
Ben is so woke now. He's so woke. He does his lives in an infrared sauna, drinking his green tea. Don't piss about. Doing yoga. A few guys commenting in here. Annette Knight, feeling positive, getting some motivation and getting stuff done. I think, Annette, you're in our 7-day program at the minute, aren't you? And one of the free programs. Nice for showing up. Kieran O'Sullivan, you're in our 30-day program, getting things done, which I was putting off. Yeah, nice. That's always a good thing. Danny McDowell's feeling positive. Natalie Pittman, I actually managed to join a live and it's not working. Story of my life at the moment. Yeah. Well, no. Hope it's working for everyone else. That's the main thing. I think it is because everyone's commenting. So, do you know what my win was? And I think you're going to like this, and we're going to start talking about this, which was, I had a lady message me, and she said, I'm in your free 7-day challenge, and I just want you to know I'm doing it with my daughter.
Nice.
And I was like, oh, brilliant. And she said, yeah, my daughter's not been to school for 2 years, extreme anxiety, and she went to school today.
Wow.
Because she said, thank you so much. I just love what you're doing. She can relate to what you guys are doing in there. And I got it. And I was like, that's cool, huh? That's cool.
That's massive. Man, that's a massive achievement.
Yeah.
It really is. Because you know what? Sometimes we forget that when people get better, other people get better, don't they? And it's like a ripple effect. But that's massive, man. You can see that big Cheshire grin there. That's a great win.
The thing is, the reason we do the 7 days, right? There's a couple of reasons for people watching this, because we're going to talk about a little bit about other people in your life today. I want Ben to talk about it because he's got some good stuff. And we're only going to be half hour today. We decided we're going to short, sharp, deliver some great content for you. And this is so common. I get that message a lot about people coming into the 7 days. And that's one thing I like about the 7 days. Because our 30 days, for example, we don't take kids in our 30 days. We're not going to say, hey, bring a 14-year-old into the 30 days, we just don't do it. But with 7 days, there's no age limit. People do it with their kids. A lot of people go, I'm here because of my child. I'm here because of, my little girl, my boy, he's anxious and I've given him your audio, etc., etc. And so one thing I love about the 7 days is it opens up our training for loads of people. Do you know what I mean? Like loads of people. And the thing I was really most impressed with is her daughter's doing all the practical stuff, because I bang on about this all the time. You've got to do practical stuff. People spend too much time talking, especially I think to kids, about what's wrong. Oh, what's wrong? Why are you anxious? And what they do is they keep reinforcing this pattern in their brain of like feeling that way. Because a lot of the time they just don't know. And if they do know, what you're going to do anyway, you're going to go try and move forward. So I'm massive on this. I think the ages of 8 onwards, even throughout school, we should not teachers, by the way. I'm not saying this about teachers. We should be teaching people skills. I keep saying it. We should be talking less. Talking is important, but it serves a point of like, here's where I'm at. It's okay. Teaching people practical skills, how to manage your emotions through coherence, how to manage your mind through different techniques. If you can do that, people move forward. And so that was my win, because I was like, you know what? Sometimes when we do 7 days, like I love them, and we've done 2 in quite quick succession the last 6 weeks. I don't normally like doing that, but I just felt like doing it. And we meet great people. But sometimes you do get a lot of time wasters in 7-day challenges.
When you say we don't get children, right?
Yeah, but one of the main benefits is it does open up opportunities for people to use it with kids and stuff, and that always makes me smile. It's like, oh man, that's great for a little girl who hasn't been to school for 2 years to go to school. And maybe she don't go to school today, you know, but she's been to school once, not forced, wanted to go because she feels more in control of her emotions. So I thought that was incredible, and incredible that the parent actually did something like that.
Yeah, you got to give credit to the parent massively, because it ain't easy to do, and I'm sure they've been through a lot of different helps, and she's still been there for 2 years, you know, and she gets this breakthrough from there. You know, people give up. They really do give up, and to come on something like this, which I know people are skeptical, and you know, when it comes around, I believe a mental health or emotional health issue, looking for the man in the white coat, you know, that alternative. And then to get something within 7 days, such a short space of time, because that 7 days ain't there to drastically change your life. It's to implement some small changes, to get some small. It's a reboot. It's a kickstart, as you call it, right? So you know, to parents to come in and bring their own children in and implement it. I'm sure, you know, like I always say, kids don't model what we say; they model what we do. So I'm sure, you know, that parent got involved and done that as well. So you know, you're building a relationship there as well, and it's that experience and all that stuff. And you know, for me, that's it's them defining moments that can ripple affect that girl making a great life. And what an awareness to have, because I'm sure it sounds like she's a bit of a teenager where she's at. And it's what we're saying right now, especially with kids, man. You know, last week I was saying, I heard a young lad had, you know, done the inevitable. But my point being is that the kids are under so much pressure. And if parents look like they're under pressure, the last thing kids want to do is come towards them and ask them for help, right? Because, you know, it's infectious, that it's contagious. And you know yourself, there's not a parent on here that has got something going on and has tried masking it up. You know, we talk about masking emotions in Unbreakable, but actually masking it up, and it's the kid that always goes, "Mummy, you all right?" Yeah, of course I'm all right. They know it's an energetic thing, it's a heart connection. And that's why I believe right now, especially with the pressure on top of the pressure that's going on, you know, to be having some practical skills which are very easy to apply, and having that real, not so much passion, but that intention to apply this as a parent, I don't think there's any greater leverage. So, you know, maybe we revise that side, make sure that we can invite X, Y, Z to the next 7 and make people know. And it's also for kids and family and etc. And even if you just want to listen in, because I know when you speak or me speak or both would speak, you know, if people get a hear of that, if people get a sound of that, then they automatically will just zone in and touch in, because we're touching on things that are very relevant to people. And when I say relevant, a lot of people think that they're in this drama, emotional drama, alone. And when we openly speak about it, you're amazed how many people can relate to each other. And you know, you know, and I say with parents, and when we created the H3 Super Kids and XYZ, I remember speaking to parents and they were saying, "Thank you for stepping up and talking about parenting, because you don't know the pressure on a parent asking for help, being judged and looked at, worrying about if I'm asking for help, I've not got the capacity to be a parent." And just that alone will stop parents asking for help outside, you know, the medical practice. Not saying there's anything wrong with medical practice, but, you know, parents asking for help doesn't mean you're a bad parent. Who the fuck gave us a blueprint for that stuff? So trying to create a community of people helping each other, whether it's recipes, ideas, you know, information, skill set, knowledge, sense of community, I feel is more relevant than ever right now, because, you know, the rules and regulations are we're supposed to be distancing, and humans are meant to be socially connected, right?
Definitely. I think something like that would be brilliant. I think, like I said, I'm never going to get away from teaching people practical skills. You know, like, can you teach someone to concentrate? Can you teach someone to move their awareness? Can you teach someone to manage their emotions? If you get that ingrained into people from a young age, you know, they will have a free mind. Trust me.
Yeah, I had
100%.
someone off the 7 day come at me and said, I heard Simon talking about practical skills and practicing them, and the more you do it, the better you get at them. I believe I've practiced myself feeling like shit. Like, you can look
Wow.
at it like that, of course, because anything over that age of 9 and onwards, we know now over 90 days, the only way you're going to re-subconscious that pattern is through habit, through the pattern of doing something and practicing something, whether that's good or bad. So that's not to say that's discouraging. That's also encouraging, knowing that if you created a pattern or created a habit of feeling like shit, then you can do the complete opposite. And they're the skills, I think, Unbreakable is not only pioneering, but world class at, my man. So anyway, let me ask you a question. Something happened on yesterday's live, right? And you just dropped a bombshell. And I think it's worth talking about right now, but you started the call talking about, and I've seen you grow this, I've seen you get the idea, I've seen you have the vision, I've seen you put the work in, I know what's been put into it. And I absolutely respect that. I'm inspired by that. That's why, I'm your shadow at the minute. But when you relayed the data that you've got in such a short space of time, one, explain what that is, and two, explain why that's so important.
Okay. I'll have to read it because
Yeah.
So what Ben's talking about, folks, is what we're doing, and this is of interest to all people. So today we've basically created a dashboard and an app for Unbreakable. And when you hear that, people are like, you expect you to be some app where it's just like, kind of is just to help the person track or play some meditation, and it does all that stuff, of course. So I was just looking at a comment from Dean now. I'm going to follow that comment up, Dean, and ask you a question in a minute. But we didn't create it for that. We didn't create this app for that sole reason, okay? Like, I was trying to get across to the 7-day challenge last night how seriously I take training the mind. I was just like, people rock up on lives and they talk about inspirational ideas and they talk about motivational ideas and a bit of pumping up motivational style stuff. And that has its place 100%, don't get me wrong. But I was trying to say, look, I don't study the mind that way. There's tons of people doing that, and I will do that. But I just said, look, in the last what was it, few weeks? I can't remember what I said. I think it was the last few weeks. We've got an app which we've been trialing with something called our Mastery Group, and I've also been trying it with a select group of people. And in that time, this app has tracked 3,780 habits as of yesterday, 2,900 and something moods. Where I'll tell you why we do that. Something like nearly this week alone, 100 different meditations. I'll tell you why that's important. And 320,000 seconds of brainwave data. Why am I telling you this? Why has Ben asked me to tell you this? The reason we track habits is to see what's going on in our programs. The reason we track emotional moods is because when I export that data off here, boom, right? I can look at our academy. I can look at our Mastery Group, and that's what I looked at. I looked at the Mastery Group, and I looked at a select group of people I was working with, a big group. And their anxiety levels on a chart reported by themselves, with not knowing why they're doing it, went like this. On a chart of actual data, right? Happiness went like this. It was mad. Stress went like that. Now, everyone can see a bit of a stagger, but the data was incredible. And we've been tracking data for years and years and years, suggestively, like, how do you feel? But this was real data. The 320,000 seconds of brainwave data is we have a part of the app where people wear headbands when they meditate, and when they meditate, it measures what's happening in their brain. And we've got 320,000 seconds of data on that. And what's going to happen is, and I know this is happening because I've exported a bit of it the other day, is everyone's alpha levels in our Mastery Group have just done that, this gradual climb. And their beta levels when they're meditating have gradually decreased. What does that mean? Alpha is like your alpha brainwaves. If you've got high alpha brainwaves, you'll have a high performing mind. You won't suffer anxiety, you won't suffer stress, you won't suffer brain fog. You will be clear, you will be concise, you will think powerfully, you'll have better emotional control, better creativity, you'll have all those different things. And that's why our goal in that program is to get alpha levels right up. If they can do it when they meditate, they'll do it in the day, easy. And so the alpha levels have skyrocketed. They don't go up dramatically because this is proper brain data. They go up, but they're going up and up and up and up all the time.
Yeah.
So why am I saying that? why did I tell the group that? I told the group that ultimately to say, like, that's actual brainwave data. This is actual proper suggestible, everyday feedback about emotions. Like, there is so much data behind us supporting our programs. It's actually untrue, from the scientific level to the feedback kind of level, to we've just got agreed for someone to come in because we want to work with the NHS and do a study on that. Like, sometimes I don't know what to say other than we don't mess about at this game. And that's why I discussed it on the feed. I was like, we don't mess about. The other reason we brought the app in, I don't know if Ben knows this, is because I figured out, and I want to share this with everyone, that for someone to transform, they have to go on a journey, right? And so we surveyed everyone. We surveyed people who left our programs, people who, every time someone does a 7-day, we survey them on the in, on the out, 30-day, survey them on in, survey them on out. We survey people who've been with us a year. We survey people who've moved through different programs, people who considered they had the best, personally, they felt they had incredible results. And you can start to see a pattern. You can start to see a pattern to success in our program, which is people come through a 7-day, they don't stop there. They move into a 30-day, they don't stop there, they learn some more skills. They come into our academy and they progress up almost a specific journey. They get better and better at what they're doing. They set different goals. And so we changed our academy program to mimic that journey. Like, rather than guessing what created success, we're like, let's mimic this pattern. And so I know that for a couple of months, they need to work on something, a couple of months, they need to work on something. And if somebody guides through there and we've avoided the pitfalls of them quitting, because we've built the program around that, in 12 months' time, their life doesn't look the same. They haven't used personal development to fix themselves. They've used personal development to excel themselves.
Wow, I'm going to press pause there for 1 minute, because this is the key difference, what we're talking about. This is massive. That statement is massive. It's not about fixing, it's about excelling, which is part of the fixing process, right? And would you say, I'm not discrediting people's work, because people obviously get a result, and we went through that process ourselves, and it definitely serves a purpose. But this whole, like, let's fix it, let's destroy stuff, you've got to get over your past before you can go forward, all this type of jazz that's out there right now, which we don't condemn, but we just know that's not appropriate. Like, this is like going to the gym, and when you're tired, you're just going, bro, you just got to smash yourself. You just got to smash yourself. You're overweight, you're stressed, you haven't slept for a long time, you're dehydrated, you've got gut problems, you're nutrient deficient, you hate your job, you hate your relationship, you just got to smash yourself in the gym to get a six-pack. It's nonsense. And it's also the same in the mindset world right now. And this is a difference. And look, we've been through this experience, and it served its purpose. From where Sai is, from where I'm at, this is where Sai really found his niche for it, studied the mind. And, I'm verifying is watching him, what he's done, and the transition and how it's got to where it is now. But that statement there, to excel, fuck going this way, to go this way, that self-serving, habitual, practical skills that you're taking away and guiding. Remember, not the difference, not telling you what to do, guiding you what to do, through the what we would say habitual foundation patterns, and then to grow off that, to learn and develop off that, and create and design a life that you want, to have clarity and all this type of stuff. The reason why I think that's important, what you just said now, is because what was once now a kind of theory and I know it works, is now data. And it's like going to the gym and being able to measure that you're losing weight when you're seeing data like that, which is groundbreaking. I mean, can you hear what you're saying? It's groundbreaking. So what would you say the difference is between trying to, like, a bit more deep dive on the fact that trying to fix everything and micromanage everything, to letting that go and finding some clarity and excelling?
To be completely honest with anyone who watches this, and like I say, we just kind of thrown this one together, haven't we? But a few months ago in our program, when we started getting all this feedback and looking at our whole system, I said to Jess, I think I'm never going to run another 7-day again. That was what I said. And she was like, why? And I said, because when you look at the stats, the biggest problem the 7-day causes is people come in, they get this kick they get this like, whoa, this is great. And then for some reason, through our own fault, I think there was this element of I'm fixed. This is all I need to do. I'm fixed. Because I think when we're struggling, we look for a fix, right? Like, come on, I just need to sort this out. And so then people would stop. And then a month later, 6-8 weeks later, we do another one. And you get the same faces come back. No offense, guys. With the same thing. Oh, I just need a kickstart because I've been feeling anxious. And all right. And they come in. Oh, yeah, I'm fixed. And I realized I was actually like contributing to the one thing I don't like about this industry, which is the whole on-off fix. I'm fixed, I'm struggling, I'm fixed, I'm struggling. Like, I realized the 7 days have become a massive plaster for people. For a lot of people, not all people, a lot of people. And so we didn't stop doing it in the end, as people know, because we're doing them. But I started making a real effort to say, this is a kickstart. What this is a possibility. We are going to show up 3 times a week, and I'm going to talk about things that people go, oh my God, that makes so much sense. Because that's what happens. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, that makes so much sense. That makes so much sense. That makes so much sense. And when they're doing it, they're modeling this idea of change. It's like, great. Do you know what I mean? So the 7 days is a kickstart. And what I'd say the difference between fix and excelling is that's the biggest belief we have to break in people. That mental health, that physical health, that well-being, that financial health, that relationships are something that you tick off, that you complete. Oh, mental health, done that, got that. Physical health, got that, done that. But it's not. It's a process. And actually, if you understand that you're all constantly creating your own mental, physical, emotional health every day through what you do, for what you think, etc. But the reality is, and this is the big thing, don't view personal development as something to fix yourself and get to normal. Like, fuck normal. What's normal is what we mean by common. And what's common in this world is not healthy mind, body. You know, don't use personal development to fix. Use it to excel, which I mean, use it for what it's for, to get the best out of your life, to get the best out of your mind, to get the best out of your body. Doesn't mean being the fittest person on the planet. It just means use it to fulfill what you want out of life. Do you know what I mean? And so there's a massive difference between that belief of fixing and excelling. And the thing Ben's touching upon is there's a huge belief, I think, that you have to destroy what you don't like. To move forward, you have to destroy the thing that's causing you problems. And that mode of training keeps people stuck. You're not going to destroy something mentally until you create something better mentally. Because focus grows like a small child. If they're naughty, they get attention, they keep playing up. You know what I mean? It's like any attention's attention, and the brain is the same. And so what I kind of observe is a huge amount of people talk about destroying what they don't like, the old me. I don't like that about me, so I'm going to destroy it. But destroying anything in the mind only fuels it to get stronger. The only way to destroy something is create a better model. Much like a phone. Steve Jobs or whatever, whoever created this fucking iPhone, he didn't have to destroy the shitty Nokia 3330 I had to create the iPhone. He created something better, and everyone went, fuck that Nokia. Look at this. Oh my God. This is amazing. No one used it. It's that same as that old saying, you know, there's 2 ways to have the biggest building in town. Build your own or destroy someone else's. Well, you know, building your own is way better. And so I know it sounds stupid, but there's this massive difference between constantly trying to talk and fix things and building things.
I love that observation. I think this is why a lot of people say stuck in the past and give it so much time and give it so much energy and keep revisiting it and keep reliving it. And, you know, it's just an absolute distraction. And like Simon's saying, what you focus on grows. And if you always try to fix that and deal with it and go back to it and make it right or make it wrong or see why it happened or blame someone and then sit in victim mentality, you can see it serves no progression anywhere. But when you can detach from this and then create new, then this lesson or whatever has happened in the past becomes part of the journey.
Yeah.
Simply put, right? I mean, I hope people on here right now are having eureka moments and the fucking brain is going ding, 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 because when I hear things like this, and this is why I listen in and, you know, I develop my mind and I make sure, you know, not everyone has the right to give me information, and that's something that, not saying they don't give me the right, but I'm not always going to give my time, energy to people I don't respect or know. So when you're coming on there and you're giving your time and energy and you're hearing stuff like this, don't let them little seeds die. Don't act on them bits of information like the 7 days that time is talking about. It's just fixing, breaking. Actually, go do something. If it's not with us, if it's not with Unbreak, then go and do something somewhere. But take that part and go. Imagine getting to the pearly gates and going, "What have you done with your whole life?" Well, yeah, I've just been pissed off at that, and I've just gave it all my time and energy, and then my time ran out, and I fucking forgot, and now I'm here. Like, it's just a waste. It's just a waste of life, right? So just talk about, while you're there, about that phase. Talk about like some transformation phases.
In what way? Give me a.
Because we know, like, you got the transformation, it happens, then we get into that bit of the, you know, like, then it starts to be the new, and it goes from there. Why do people like? Because really, when people come to 7 days, they are transforming, they feel a bit better, and then boom, they go back to the normal. But they're actually on the transformation journey, ain't they? They're on liftoff. You know, most of the work's being done, and then they get to that little bit, and they don't really break through out the comfort zone, do they? And then boom, they come back in, and it happens again. Like, what's the common denominator, or what's the overlap that goes into the next part of the transformation?
Ben's has put me on the spot today, isn't he? That's Ben's idea. Put me on the spot. From a training point of view, you got to remember this. In our industry, there's probably personalities, and then there's probably trainers. And that's not me being bitter about anything. There's some personalities. I forgot to tell you this. I wrote an email about this, and somebody messaged me back saying, "Are you bitter because you're not a personality?" I was like, "No, I've got hundreds of members. Do you know what I mean? I'm a trainer. I don't whatever, you know."
What personality? Like an authority? Do you mean? What is it?
What I mean is there's personalities who are going to talk, just motivational, inspirational on their personalities. I'm a trainer, right? And so I'm going to talk like a trainer. I train people. My intent every week is to master my craft, to get better at training people. And that's why we're constantly re-breaking our system all the time. Bum, bum, bum. So if you want a practical answer for why people struggle to get out of the trap, it's because they do not progress their training. That is why. We can think of all the biggest fucking answers, and you smile because you go, yeah, it probably makes sense.
No, because I know what you're going to say. This is why people will not willing to put in, because it gets a bit uncertain. They start to get that resistance, and they don't want to practice, and it comes back to new. We'll go back.
Do you know what people do? I'm gonna be honest. People think setting bigger goals is progressing their training, but there's a big difference, a massive difference for anyone watching this. Doubling down on your craft and improving your training each day is very different to setting a bigger goal. Some people say, well, set a bigger goal and you'll have to up your training. Not necessarily. You can pull off goals without getting any better a lot of the time. You can just do a lot of hard work and hustle, and you might be able to pull it off. When it comes to your own mental, physical health, if you went to a gym and Ben said, here's a program. I don't know why Ben's working at the gym. I mean, he's in the sauna right now, but imagine Ben's working at the gym. And I walked in and said, Ben, I want to get fit and strong. And Ben said, here's a program, Si. I'm new to this. Okay. And he gives me his program, and I'm lifting some weights, and I'm sprinting, and I'm doing kettlebells. And then a year later, I'm doing the same program with the same weights, with the same order, with the same stuff. Am I going to make any progress eventually? I'm going to make progress for the first few weeks. And then my progress is going to plateau. And that person probably does one of the following things: loses motivation, they're not progressing their training, their goal seems further away, and they quit. And so when it comes to the mind, I don't know why we treat that any different. When it comes to personal development, I don't know why we treat that any different. It's like, people are still doing the same stuff. Like the same stuff, the same routine, the same way, the same day, the same insights. Whereas I've tried to work personally, I've tried to work hard in our programs on ramping up the intensity of the training as the groups progress. So 30 days, you're talking about coherence and letting go of energy, but you get to academy, we're talking about some advanced things and people are doing some advanced practices. You get to mastery, people are measuring their brainwaves, talking about the environment of their mind, the intensity ramps. But that's why people make progress and keep going, because the resistance is increasing. And I just don't know why I speak to people who are still doing the same things. If anyone here, right, is still questioning their thoughts as a mode for improving their mind, you are going to struggle for the rest of your life. I don't care how famous someone like Byron Katie is. She's amazing. But there's some things that logic will not solve. That's why many practices now look at CBT as a very basic form for most people, because what we understand intellectually, we cannot let go of emotionally. There's another divide where people don't make progress. We spend all our time in our mind. Why doesn't my mind improve? Because you spend all your time there. And the more intellectual an individual is, they've proven this, the harder they will find it to make progress emotionally.
Man, if you remember, I talked about my family member with that. I said the people, especially kids, the ones that are more intelligent and can think outside the box, are more emotionally intelligent on both ends of the spectrum.
Yeah.
100%. I mean, that's certified without nobody's data. That makes sense logically, doesn't it? Like, you're going to try to outthink how you feel is the misconception, right? Like you say, you said it the other day, like, try to deal with things logically when it's an energy perspective that we need to be looking at is the reason why, for me, being with the program for the last 2 years and training emotion and seeing my brainwaves train, because it wasn't like it was now when we first started, right? And my brainwaves were all over the shop. And you would say, I was experienced at that time, and we see mine all over, and it was like, whoa, this is the environment. We need to change the content. We need the heart and the mind to speak the same language. We don't want them not speaking the same language and not being able to communicate. And I've seen it on my graphs, like the level of the environment when talking about the brainwaves, the way it's evened out, the way it's coherent. It's crazy that even though you see them changes, and it's great for me because that's the type of guy I am. I like to see the data, I like to see the improvement. When you start seeing it in your day-to-day stuff, i.e. my win this morning and be able to be in a situation, because mine, if anyone gets the feeling that mind-sized life is like fucking at bliss and we're hugging trees all day, you're out your goddamn mind. We deal with some seriously intense shit and shit that people won't be able to look at, never mind deal with, because we're dealing with people in messed up places. But that being said, we have to have that level of training that we don't become consumed and just be absorbed, and absorb. But, today was a real indicator that, wow, things are massively changing, not only because, I got a better result, but being able to be aware of that and not get dragged into it. For an emotional guy who I am, there are times that, your training pays off because it was on the battlefield.
Yeah, I think, so number one, if you want to keep making, progress, then you have to progress what you're doing. Like, I know it sounds stupid, but actually progress. And there's a big difference between learning and training, isn't there? Like learning, I read a book, I listened to an audio, that's great. Practice is, I can read a book about playing piano all day, but I'm not going to get better at playing the piano. I have to jump on it and play the piano, and I have to play it effectively. If I play it badly, when I go see Annie, she says, have you been practicing what I gave you? No. She goes, I can tell. Your hands are all over the shop. Because I have bad practice, and then it's hard to get out of those patterns of practice. What's up, Sammy? And so the other thing is, what I was saying is it's hard to the difference between logic and emotion is very different. We've all fallen out with someone and then logically gone, oh God, I should probably I can understand where Ben come from. He said that because of that. But next time I see him, I've still got that emotional hangover around the subject. I can't quite let it go. And that's the difference between people keep getting people to understand mentally, what they can't understand emotionally. And that's the big thing in mindset training, is teaching people about the heart, teaching people about the intuition of a heart. You know, what do they, the latest study, 40,000 neurons, one of the most intuitive things in your body, the heart brain, like not woo woo, not fake science like some people like to say, real science. And so the heart is a wonderful thing. The gut brain, stomach health, that's got a massive deal with mindset. Ben knows loads about that. It's getting those three lined up. So keep progressing your training. Maybe get out your head and think maybe it's an emotional problem and I'm not going to solve that logically. That's exhausting to try and solve that logically. You know, even if you can agree it's emotion that needs letting go of. And the third thing I think that Ben's talking about is when Ben's saying about brainwaves, this was a big aha for me, a big aha, that there's a difference between the content of your brain and the environment it's in.
Powerful. So
think of content like the information and the thoughts. Think of environment as like, imagine it like a fish in a fishbowl. The fish is your thinking and your thoughts. The water is the environment it's in. Now, mentally, people say, I'm so overwhelmed. It's because of all the things I've got to do. Well, I wake up sometimes and I've got loads to do, and I'm not overwhelmed at all. I've got a day full, and I'm like, great, I'm not overwhelmed. Some days I wake up with less to do, and I'm overwhelmed as shit. It's not the amount of thoughts I'm having, it's the environment those thoughts are in. And your environment could be considered the frequency that you are on brainwave-wise. And so what Ben's saying is, in the modern world, like for people who want to excel mentally, or even people who are struggling mentally, it's not usually the content, the information, it's usually the environment that's in. And we can change those environments through strategic practices. You can calm that environment down so you can see things clearer. And that is, I think, where the magic is, where it's cultivating good environments. And that's why I went on the brainwave fucking bandwagon for nearly 2 years. It's like, no, actually, it doesn't matter what you put in, it's the environment that it's in. And that's why you can feed great information to someone and they just can't take it on. Or you can kind of have somebody who's so able to take it on and they excel with it. It's the environment.
And anyone can do that, right?
Yeah, massive, 100%, yeah. Yeah.
So just an analogy I like to use when he's saying about you can't take it on, that's not to say, oh, I'm that person that can't take it on. Just think about when someone's fuming and they're angry and they're at that level of survival and they're effing and jeffing at someone, you're trying to calm them down. They're not suggestible. The content's not coming in, they're not listening, they're not calming down. Well, that's the same way for most people, right? It's not that they're raging, it's just internally they feel like that and they might not be expressing it or seeing it. So you ain't suggestible. And like what we're, starting with the beginning of this lockdown live, we were saying the pressure that's on us right now and everything else that's going on, people have been excelled straight into what we call survival. And when you're in that survival state, which is completely normal for a survival experience, you'd want to be in that state if a lion come running around a corner or you crossing over a road in a car, seems like there's an intimate danger. But to be walking around with that 24/7 is detrimental to your health. Not only you're not suggestible, you can't create. You're not in a state of creation. You're in a state of protection. Everything's irrational. You're reactive, and if that sounds like you, then and that is relating to you, then just know what we're talking about is the solution. So, but just before we wrap it up, the subject close to my heart. You had a question from a girl around the kids, right? You want to touch on that?
I did, yeah. I will touch upon that because we had a good question, and then Ben's going to cover it. But to wrap up what we just said, right? The other night on a mastery call, I read out this quote. Do you remember the quote I read out?
I was getting it up. I'm getting it up. Oh yeah, go on.
And I read out this quote, and it's from a great book, and it summed up the environment of your mind better than I could. And it was talking about people, and it said these high-performing people, so people excelling mentally. Which when somebody who hears that who's struggling, they're like, I don't want to excel mentally. Well, you do. If you're struggling mentally, you want to excel mentally. Don't aim for getting up above water. Aim to think incredibly, And it said these people are deliberately cultivating these states, right? This is this quote. Deliberately cultivating these states, which then means their brain state, to solve critical challenges and outperform their competition. But this is the bit I loved. It isn't grit, better habits, or longer hours that separates the best from the rest. And that is the statement right there. And I would say it isn't just grit, better habits, or longer hours that separate the struggling from the not struggling. It's not that. It's cultivating a better mental state, like a better mental environment. So that being said, I hope that's given you something to think about. But yeah, I had a great question, and I want Ben to cover it. We've got 10 minutes, Ben. So it's a great question, the 7 days. I'm not going to say it was from. It was saying, look, I'm feeling a bit guilty about helping. What do you do about feeling guilty about helping yourself when your kids are struggling? I think you might be on here, the lady who asked this. So this person's come in, they're in their 7 days, and they're feeling better, but their kids are struggling. And they almost feel guilty about feeling better because their kids are struggling. And they were like, how can you help somebody who's struggling, a kid or a young person? How can I help them with the stuff I'm learning from you guys in the 7 day? I think that was the question that came in. So I was just interested because Ben's created some stuff for kids and parents before. What would you say to that? To somebody who says, first of all, that I feel guilty about feeling good when they feel crap?
Yeah, well, that's a great question. And there's two answers to this question. And the first answer is you helping yourself and improving yourself in this 7 day is helping your kid. First off, you getting better right now. And it's quite normal, when you do start to feel better, that feels away because you're feeling better. And, there's this guilt and shame setting in where you're like, no, they shouldn't be suffering. And, all that time and energy spent into how they should be feeling and thinking. And, this is a feedback loop that's quite common. But when people, it's the old mask analogy on the airplane, right? Before you can save anybody else, you've got to save yourself. So knowing that you're doing that and then you're getting that clarity and you're getting that awareness and now you're wanting to do that and it's come to the point through that little bit of guilt that you've actually prompted you to ask a question, to ask help for you. Just understand that that process is the help, right? You're already doing it. So give yourself credit on that, which I hope you find some fulfillment from baseline one. Yeah, like know that now you've got that clarity. Now you've got that understanding. Now you feel better. Now you're in a better position. Because maybe 2 weeks ago you was in a position emotionally you wouldn't have asked that, right? So see the progression in that. The second thing is we're especially Unbreakable and what we do. We're, for some practical stuff, winning a morning for most kids is where we start with everybody, right? Getting some hydration, moving the body, doing some breathing techniques, putting on some music, making them, feel better, just changing the environments, breaking what already happens every day, breaking that natural reaction. So we're waking up already in a bit of dread, guilt, shame, whatever it is. I'm just assuming and presuming here with your kid. We need to break that pattern right there. So, some practical stuff like that, moving the body, getting some music on, hydrating, this physically helps the body feel less stress, which helps them emotionally feel a little bit better. But asking purposeful, powerful questions, and I can't give you right now. We can if you want to message us, but asking questions like, what are you excited about today? What excites you about today? What's the one thing you're excited about? Because you're training the brain to look elsewhere for a different emotional reaction. And we say all the time, emotions are feedback. So anything prompting, not just like, oh, you're gonna have a great day today, have a great day. It's meaningless shit, that it's small talk. Just when you're asking powerful questions, you'll quickly see how that evolves very rapidly. So yeah, how can you make today great? Are you going to challenge yourself today? So you're preempting them for, wait, I'm going to be challenged today. How are you going to feel when you overcome that that challenge? What are 3 things are you grateful for? All these type of things. What do you love about yourself? When you come home, these are the type of questions I asked me, my son. What was great about today? What subject did you love? Raise some emotion. Yeah, what was your biggest mistake? What did you learn by that? What did you do differently next time? Oh, that's great. I'm not just saying encouragement, not just saying, oh yeah, well done, even only done shit. I'm letting them harvest that feeling, and you will see the change in the mouth. You'll see the change in their energy. You'll see the change in the connection and the conversation that you're having. And for me, it's very practical, but there's something that happens from a parent to a kid when you do that energetically. That happens that you will feel. And that from a parent to a kid to a parent, for me, is where we help our kids the most, right? But getting to the questions, getting to the greater habits, getting to win in the morning, and getting to remember, kids don't model what we say; they model what we do. So the things that you will do, you'll quickly see them fall into line as well.
Yeah.
Hope
The
I
sad
covered some
fact
shit
is,
there.
I think, I don't think I know. What Ben's saying is good conversations. Like having good conversations. Asking good questions gets good conversations, doesn't it? Do you know what I mean? And you can guide anyone's awareness is guided when you ask a question. Do you know what I mean?
Why is
So if
that
you-
important, right? So why is that important? If you guide it to a better question, why is that important? I know I covered it there, but
Well, it's important because you're going to put their awareness in a good place. They're going to start thinking about good things. It's just like it's not dismissing how someone feels. It's listening, but then through questions and patience, it's guiding people towards things that feel better, isn't it? Whether it's a kid or an adult. The more you sit and talk about what you hate about life, the more you find to hate, and the more you talk about how bad it is, the worse it gets. I'm not saying you got to pretend it's really good, but you can always look for slightly better, and that's going to come from questions, isn't it? So I like what you do with it because it's actually, people say, I always think kids should like journal and stuff, but at the same time, that's going to make no difference if they journal and then have crappy conversations for 16 hours.
yeah.
So having good conversations is.
Well, I think
It's crucial.
journaling's a massive part, especially that's what they get with the book, right? And they're tracking the habits and doing all that stuff. But you're right, the journaling, I always say, it's like the gym for the mind. Writing, putting it down, creating that intention, writing it down. If you can ask them questions that answer it, but imagine the power of then having a journal and then also making, powerful conversation that Si said. I mean, just that being meaningful coming from the heart is, infectious to our kids. And that's some practical stuff. So to cover that, get up in the morning, put on an environment that the kids love, maybe some music that they love that just maybe even dance around, shake it up, move the body. It don't have to be exercises in press ups and burpees, maybe even chase them around, whatever just moves the body, right? Get himself in daylight, get the curtains drawn, get him a glass of water. We can talk about a decent breakfast maybe another time, but make sure that they've got some decent fuel in them. And then ask some great questions. If you want to do it on practically on a paper, great. If not, just make sure the conversation in the morning, in the car, is sat around guiding their attention, awareness to a greater emotion, and then doing it coming home, and then being practical about it. Make sure that you're practicing it every week, and you'll see a complete shift. Because kids, they're very suggestible. Very suggestible, and that means a lot right now, especially the pressures that they're under, because if we're talking about COVID and this and that, and these kids walking around with masks on and everything's different in school, and it's a voice of the voiceless. These guys are under immense pressure, and even maybe have the conversation that's difficult and questions that are difficult, because that's obviously building resistance as well. And you know what? We could probably do a whole talk on this right now, and I'm not passionate about a good talk all there, but just take those practical steps before we go on for another half an hour and just implement them, especially in the morning, and then naturally, intuition as a mother will just naturally progress that anyway. And if you want more information on that, just reach out to me and Si, and we'll give you some other tips as well.
I think to not to put a downer on it, I don't want to be the bearer of the downer. All that stuff me and Ben are talking about, it's amazing. But Ben's first point was the most important, I think. And it's kids learn by modeling. And I think through good intentions, from most parents I meet, are so upset that their kid's not happy, they try and fix them. And there's this forcing element of I've got to fix them. And we do pass our anxieties and stresses and worries on to the kid, like whether we like that or not, whether we like hearing that. We're not saying it's anyone's fault or anyone's to blame. It's your fault, but it's, energy is contagious that way. And we have to learn our patterns from somewhere. And so I think one of the key things is not to try and force and fix a young kid personally. I and also to say, actually, no matter what you say, no matter what you get them to do, if you're wandering around an anxious, nervous bag of bones, that's going to say more than that for me. You've got to go first. You've got to deal with your own shit first. If you're a therapist, for example, you've got to deal with your own shit first. You've got to process your own shit before you can do therapy with anyone. Why do they say that? Otherwise, you bring your own stuff to the session. And I mean, it's the same with this. So I'm not being like, all those things are great and they will benefit, but don't ever forget that you have to prioritize your own well-being. Otherwise, everyone suffers.
Sure does, man.
I don't think there can be a better message in life. We live in this world where we feel guilty if we're doing all right and people are struggling. The only way to help someone struggling is to struggle with them. No, it's not. That is two people struggling. The only way to help somebody who's struggling is to not struggle.
That's a great point.
And then you can help. If I was a mess every day of my life, and so was Ben, I was really struggling. How could I help? How could we help the people we help? We couldn't.
No.
We wouldn't be able to. So it's the same in any relationship, I think. So never feel guilty about prioritizing your own well-being. It's the greatest gift you can give anyone. And I think so, folks. Bit of a random one today. We just ended up talking about a load of stuff, but we wanted to turn up. We wanted to do something. We didn't even let anyone know that there was a live going on. But you know, hit a like button. If you're in our 7 days, don't forget tonight, 8:30, me and Ben are doing a Q&A, loads of great questions in there. If you're in Academy, don't forget 7 o'clock. If you're in the 30-day, don't forget 7:45.
Trojan, man. Trojan.
Have a wonderful, wonderful Thursday, Friday, whatever day it is. And thanks for showing up so we don't just talk to ourselves, although we generally do.
Yeah. And again, before we go, there's obviously someone out there that needs to hear this message. So we'd love and appreciate your contribution and share the message.
Yeah, definitely. Next week, we have someone coming on to talk about loss. Loss of anything, not just people, but job, identity, just loss in general. Ben, where are you?
I'm at my mum's.
Brilliant.
So Thursday is the family day, right? We all come down to my mum's and blah blah blah. Only 6 of us. Any of those fools watching. And then Lisa has to go and get the kids because it's at 3 o'clock. Hopefully we're going to figure out that time. So Lisa's now gone and got the kids. My battery's about to die. I'm texting her like, bring the charger in, XYZ. So while that's going on, there's a whole other world going on under the table here with the phone. But yeah, so we're gonna have some good old Irish stew and then wrestle the kids for half an hour and get annihilated.
Cool. See you at 8:30.
Yeah, man. See you soon.